Okay YouTube, this is going to be a video on spark plugs. Now, spark plugs are more important to a vehicle than you might think. They are crucial to the running and performance of a petrol engine. The gain in performance and fuel consumption by changing your spark plugs is extremely surprising. Right, this is an old plug. This spark plug is an old spark plug. It's done about, I don't know, I'd say 40,000 miles. Probably this spark plug wasn't giving any misfiring problems or any starting problems of any at all. It was giving me an uneven idle without a misfire. An uneven idle, a non-smooth idle. There was no misfire at all. Right. The thing you've got to remember with spark plugs is that you may think that this small gap here is easy for that extremely high voltage to jump that gap. When you're taking a spark plug out and you test you've got spark on a lawnmower, a strimmer, a racing car, a motorbike, anything, a normal car, an everyday car, you know, just a normal day-to-day run around. You take your spark plug out, you check you've got a good spark, and you see a nice blue spark jumping across this gap, and you think, yeah, that's fine. So why am I getting starting issues or misfiring issues? Well, the reason is because A is an insulator. A is an insulator. So when this is screwed into the cylinder head and you've got that extremely high compression in the engine, a fuel and air mix, the air becomes more of an insulator. So it makes it extremely difficult for the voltage to jump that small gap. It's amazing, really. This is why you need such a high voltage, 25 to 30,000 volts, to jump this gap of electricity. That's why you get a nice shock off these if you not wearing plastic gloves or not thinking. Now, you may take this plug out and look at this spark plug and say there's nothing wrong with it, which is correct. There is nothing wrong with this spark plug as such, but there is something that happens to every single spark plug in every single engine over time. What happens is, this is a spark plug. I've cut the electrode off for demonstration purposes. What happens is, the point where the spark occurs, which is this part here, which I call the contact, it gets warped and pitted over time and over normal engine running conditions. And what happens is, it gets pitted and corroded, pitted and burnt away over time. The extreme heat in the combustion chamber and the amount of voltage zapping away at it all the time. So you get an uneven surface on this pad, if you like, or this contact. And what happens is, the spark is not constantly equal at any given time. So you get a spark that's trying to jump a higher gap every single time. You get that the spark is trying to jump a longer distance if this is pitted or warped. Therefore, you get what's called low spark voltage, which is caused by either worn HT leads or a tired coil pack. But on this diagnosis, on this vehicle, it was caused by an uneven surface of the spark plug on the electrode, or the what's called the the contact, because when you think about it, if it's got to jump a higher, if the spark has got to travel a longer distance, then it's more difficult for that spark to travel that distance when there is an insulator. Therefore, you get an uneven, either get a misfire or a little, when you're putting your foot on the throttle, you get a little flat spot or something. The power's not there when you want it or when you need it, because because of the spark, it's got to jump that little bit more of a distance. It could be within microns, not microns, within millimeters, I mean. But it's still enough to give you that uneven idle, or a rough idle, or a small flat spot. For the price of spark plugs, you might as well just change the bloody things every single time you do a service, because the performance gain in changing your spark plugs for the small price of a spark plug, it's not worth cheaping out. Because if you leave your spark plug way too long, you're going to get misfiring problems, you're going to get catalytic converter problems, you're going to get all sorts of problems. So you might as well just bloody change them and be done with it.